What's up, YouTube fans? So I just saw this video clip I wanted to respond to from this popular intelligent design advocate named Stephen Meyers, right? And he was there was this video clip where he was explaining why he thinks that chance cannot explain the origin of life or the origin of functional information. So I wanted to play that video clip and then give my response.
Why is it that it couldn't have happened by chance?
Well, you can never say never for sure, okay? You can't say something couldn't for sure, but you can say that it would be vastly more improbable than not that life arose by chance. So improbable, in fact, that people would dismiss it as being not a credible hypothesis.
And right? I think the folks, when they hear what you're going to say,
let me explain why. Here's an illustration I used to use with my students. I've got a little bag here of Scrabble letters. So I asked my students to test the hypothesis that chance is an effective way of building new information, of generating new information. What I'd have them do is I'd have them walk up to, or I'd walk out into the aisles, have them pick out letters at random, and then take those letters and go and write whatever letter they chose on the blackboard, and have them do it in the sequence that they picked out of the bag, in which they chose the letters. And invariably, what would turn up on the blackboard would be some gibberish like Z, S, U, A, E, T, whatever, and obviously improbable arrangement of characters, but not specified to perform a function, not meaningful, okay? And that's the problem with chance. It generates unspecified arrangements, but not specified arrangements.
Yeah, you got gibberish versus time and tide, wait for no man.
Exactly, and chance does a great job of giving you the gibberish, but it will not. It does not produce information. Now, occasionally we'd have a situation in which we'd get a student. Maybe the first three students would come up with something like bin or or something that was at least word-like, and the students would often start to kind of do cat calls and say, "Ha! See, we got you. We're gonna produce a lot of information by chance." But I would always win the argument by allowing the experiment to keep going, and eventually the gibberish would completely swamp the meaningful, any hint of meaning that was in.
Yeah, if you had 150 letters going down the line, the fact is you'd have gibberish.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's a reason for that, and I've got a little demonstration on that point as well. It's called the problem of combinatorials, and this is what people don't realize. Before we get to the slide, I have a visual aid. Okay, it's a little dinosaur puzzle, and it's got 4 dials. On each dial, there are 6 possibilities. One for each of 6 dinosaurs, and you've got a dial for the head, the torso, the tail, and the label of each dinosaur. And the idea here in the puzzle is you're trying to turn it to get the Tyrannosaurus Rex head, body, tail, and label all to line up. Now, what are the odds of doing that by just turning the dials at random? That's the problem of combinatorials. There's lots of different combinations, so the odds are actually very small. You've got a 1 in 6 chance of getting the correct head. Now and then a 1 in 6 chance of getting the correct body, tail, and label. And you might want to say the odds are 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, but that's not how it works, because you have to take into account all the different combinations that can be formed. If I've got a head on one label, 1 in 6 possibility here, but on the second dial for the torso, I've also got a 1 in 6 possibility. So there's actually 6 times 6 possibilities. And then when you get to the third dial, you get another times 6, and the fourth dial, another times 6, it ends up that you actually have 1,296 possible combinations. So the odds of getting the correct one are only 1 in 1,296. Now, if I say give you 10 seconds and you get to turn the dial 3 times, is it more likely or less likely than not that you will stumble onto the correct combination? Well, it's obviously less likely than not. And it's not impossible, but it's far more likely that you won't solve the problem by chance than you will solve the problem by chance.
Hey, what's up, YouTube fans? So there's a lot of really big problems with this argument that he was making there, right? So first off, it would be even more improbable to have an intelligent designer exist by chance, right? if this intelligent designer has a brain, sensory organs, arms, and fingers like us humans do, and if he doesn't and he isn't at all complex, then how did he design life? Did he just say, let there be life, and it appeared? How does that work, right? They don't have an explanation for how that works. They don't have a model. And they will try and get around the improbability of God existing himself by saying like, oh, well, he's outside of space and time. He doesn't have a cause. He caused everything else. None of that gets around the improbability of him himself being arranged in the right way by chance, right? So that's the first big problem. The second big problem, right, is that his analogies, right, are only like using a limited amount of experiments that he's running to get these results by chance or not. So like in the case of the second one, he himself acknowledged, right, that given 1,296 tries, you'll get the right arrangement, right? So the chances any particular time is pretty improbable, but you know what? You run that experiment 1,296 times, you're probably going to get the right arrangement. Most likely you will, right? And he points out that if he gives me 10 seconds, I'm unlikely to, but 10 seconds? We have a lot more than 10 seconds. Like really 10 seconds? We have billions of years to work with, potentially trillions of planets, not to mention that any given planet that potentially allows for life, planets are big. There's a lot of spaces around any particular planet, potentially countless other universes also. So, and this is something that only had to happen once, right? And it wouldn't, even if the circumstances are extremely remote, it wouldn't at all be a coincidence that we find ourselves here where life is, right? Because it's because of our brain and sensory organs that we have awareness of the world around us. Most likely anywhere where there's no life, there's no consciousness, no observers, right? And so therefore it wouldn't have to be a coincidence that we find ourselves here where life is, even if the circumstances allowing for it are astronomically remote, right? It wouldn't at all be a coincidence, right? It wouldn't have to be. Also, he's assuming that naturalistic explanations would be having to rely on nothing but chance, right? But that is not generally the consensus as to how it would work. Yes, there would be some amount of chance, right? But it would not be all up to nothing but chance, right? So many problems with his line.